Yeah, so what I'm saying that from senior director level, which is just below vice president, people get promoted to vice president from senior director, and oftentimes, those promotions are not based on merit. It's just people who know who knows what. But in general, you can make a case that from senior director level, you really need to um, think in terms of organizations, organization dynamics, which is basically, let's say if you are in a basically a organization of 250 people, which is a nice sized department, and people do much more than that. People do 500, 1,000, and such. That's what happens in large companies. There are people who are leading 1,000 person organization, but at least I feel that like from 200 plus, from that point, people, if they have a senior director title at those kind of things, they need to think in terms of organization, system theories, system science, and yeah.
Sorry. So you make a mention in the post about the currents of profit motive
Right.
automatically gives rise to chaos. And can you expand on that, and how this becomes, and how when this is not taken cognizance of, and one doesn't have a skill to maneuver it, what could it lead to?
Right. So basically, yes. So let's stay on that topic. So basically, the profit motive for whom, right? So profit motive for very strong stakeholders, basically SVPs, and there's definitely undeniable profit motives. Sometimes their compensation is disclosed, sometimes it is not. For example, Google Sundar Pichai, CEO, just ended up earning 220 million for last year, and having fired 12,000 people in that process. So you cannot deny that when it comes to top leadership, like there is a very strong current of profit motive, like compensation running into multi-million dollars. So even compensation running into $5 million is a very strong. Forget about 220 million. A compensation running into $5 million is a very strong profit motive. I'm just talking about annual, somebody making $5 million in a year, right? So oftentimes this is hidden, right? The compensation is hidden. It's a highly sensitive, secretive thing. But what happens is that that motive, which is hidden, profit motive, results into explicit actions in terms of holding stake. That's why they're called stakeholders. So the stakeholders, based on hidden profit motive, will try to steer the organization on certain way. And now we see how Tarun Sukhani's law is coming into play. And there are multiple stakeholders. So then you have these currents, and then you have a large base of employees, and I count directors into that. So I am starting this system science, organization science from somebody from senior director level. So just under VP, and then VP and all those things, SVP and all those things. So in my view, like if the senior directors, they are basically, I don't know why they should be, but if they are servant leaders, as they claim, then they should try to basically constrain these chaos by theory of constraints or other sensible theories, not agility theory, other sensible theories, to say this is what can be done. For example, flow theory. Basically limiting the work in progress. So at least have access to certain theory, be expert on that, and then clearly articulate when necessary. So this is how, and basically do much more upward management, so that these powerful stakeholders, they don't end up ruining a lot of workers' life. But that's exactly what is happening, and it is so real that I can, when we got disconnected, somebody sent a long message to me saying that you are saving my life or something like that, like a mental health and such, because your posts are so good. So I'll obviously not share the name, but I'll share the copy paste of the post. Can you imagine, like when he got disconnected for 5 minutes, then I got this mail.
Yeah.
So So these things which I'm talking is real, like people just do not care for the narrow profit motive, which is Torun Sukhani is talking about. And this the expansion of that is that a powerful stakeholder, like somebody like 5 million, even less, even $1 million per. Think about it for the whole world. If you end up getting $1 million salary plus bonus uh, on a year, that is I'm not, and I've come down from 220 million to 5 million to now I'm talking about 1 million. Even 1 million is a very strong profit motive.
Correct.
So that basically consciously guides people action. And then if there are not effective leaders, so this agile delivery, everything becomes unsustainable, because unsustainable, because let's say that you do not give end-to-end visibility to the developers. Then I'm going to argue, like in a year, there is 26 sprints. What makes one sprint different from another sprint? And you do sprint, then again you do another sprint. And this is very intense because you have to plan to show that. Then there is agile metrics. They say that your lead time and your this and that. There are Scrum masters, agile coaches. How can a developer feel any different from one sprint to another sprint? Other than taking just 2 weeks vacation. Nowadays some companies, what they are doing is that you can take unlimited vacation. What is just another scam. What you can do is that you can coordinate with your manager, and you can take 2 weeks at a time. If it is more than 2 weeks, then it will go to one level of approval, another level. So that itself is a signal to you that taking 3 week vacation is not welcome. But you can take 2 weeks if you are very good. Most likely you will take 2 weeks and then 2 weeks, 4 weeks. That's about it. And then company has nothing in the books. If company lets you go at any time, no accumulated vacation to pay, nothing like that, right? So these kind of policies plus this sprinting, what difference it makes from sprint 37 to sprint 33, or like in a year there are 26 sprints. So how the difference? So the autonomy and then end to end, those kind of things, like those are not basically not being much talked about, and that's why the Torun Sukhani's law comes into play. Ultimately, fundamentally undermining this agile thing that is much talked about but not happening because of Sukhani's law.
Yeah. And how does this tie in, Soumen, how does this tie into when you state that Agile is a socialist process and distrusted by profit-motivated capitalists?
Yeah. Right. So basically, if you see, right, the four core tenets of Agile, like giving workers autonomy, power to decide. So those kind of things, right? The capitalist management will generally not support that because they are looking at spreadsheets and like how to get much more out of $70 per hour or something like that. So basically, like if you want to do let's say pair programming or mob programming, right? Management will not allow that. But generally, Agile Scrum, what it says is that you do sprint goal. And sprint goal don't say what you plan to do. You basically say what you plan to find out, because it is highly inspect and adapt process. And don't do a list of tasks Robin will do, or Torun will do, or Soumen will do, or Hemant will do. No, not like that. But insist that they work as a team to basically some worthy goals, which is more of outcome oriented. Give them a lot of power to do experimentation with some fraction of the users, test in production, this and that. Generally, delivery oriented management will not allow that, generally, because again, Sukhani's law, right? They know what compensation they are getting, which is pretty high. And then they basically go and make roadmaps, deep roadmaps, or go to the even higher up, like SDP or Chief Information Officer. They make promise, and they know that if they basically do that promise, they will end up getting Torun Sukhani's law, which is $1 million plus compensation. So that is why the need to control is so high for them. I would not call Sukhani's law deep without getting this realization. So it's a really deep law.
Are you also then tying it back and stating that because these compensations are tied up and they are hidden, and they want to have control. And because they know they cannot deliver the outcomes, they can at least focus on the the factory of outputs that they can keep churning out, irrespective whether it causes the outcome or not.
Yeah, so at that level, right, when you start making that kind of money, like again, $1 million plus, the strategies, deception, all this makes sense. Hiding, all this makes sense because you ultimately are not powerful, but the people are in your command, they are powerful. You are powerful through your control and deceptions and such and such. So, so basically, and communication and managing up and all those things, right? So, but agile, so basically, from that standpoint, is a pretty socialistic process. Talks about worker autonomy, talks about mob programming, talks about peer programming, talks about craftsmanship. People who are highly compensated, they don't have patience for all that. That's why it is very difficult to make agile succeed. Yeah. Instead, if we talk about delivery, much more grounded delivery science, that has much better chance of success because then people who are trying to control, they will have some semblance of control or so see some control in the delivery science theory.
So can you just for the benefit of audience, and obviously in our next episodes we will try and cover, but can you just give some initial features or semblance of what exactly is this delivery science that you're talking about?
So delivery science is basically, I would say again, I'll definitely index on that 5G, 6G cellular communication model, which is MIMO and spectral efficiency through packetization, and of course digital technology, not analog. You can do only packetting based on digital technology, and digital technology has a tremendous property. Either something is 1 or something is 0. There is nothing in between, and through mathematics you can basically make digital communication very error-free and such and such. But the things that that happens that basically catches my eye is that small packetization and multiple massive input and a massive output, MIMO. So and multiple channels. So if we have the delivery discipline of basically vetting and betting on certain small packets of work, which is 3 sprints, which I said 6 weeks, and refine the delivery vehicle on the apparent success or failure, and analyze like why that small packet of work which has been vetted could not actually achieve the desired objective. Yeah. Then I think we'll have a scientific basis of refining that mechanism, and of course separating the output, the outside from the inside, like have a buffer or have a moat between the churn that goes inside, because it's a creative chaos, with the stability stable projection that basically we give outside. That's why you will see that in this kind of situation, there'll be very less feature, because the features first they have to go through delivery churn, then they have to go through this buffered zone of vetting, careful vetting, and then it will come out to the outside world. And this buffer zone can be long experimentation with the user base. So before declaring GA to the outside world. So the architecture is that you have delivery churn, creative chaos, that is the core. Then there is a big buffer zone, and then the outside announcement, feature announcement, and all those things. So in that architecture, in my opinion, it won't be a feature factory. It will be at least looking from outside.
Yeah. And are you seeing examples of companies that are trying to do this in your network?
Yeah, like if we basically follow the shape up a process creator, Ryan Singer, then we'll see some of the success stories it does, but it is not very welcome because the hoodwinking or deception, there's powerful stakeholders would like to continue, because just be clear, of their $1 million plus compensation yearly is to make appearance of continuity. So this insistence that if something doesn't pass first packet, there is no automatic continuation. That really scares them, powerful stakeholders. That's really scary to them because that is basically put a kibosh in their plan. So generally, the stakeholder, they will would like to maintain appearance of power, appearance of making and breaking carrier, or appearance of continuity, delivery continuity. So this delivery discipline, they mark into that, saying that, no, let's continue on this and that. Yeah.
I think this, all of this is also, the hoodwinking, the deception, the hidden motive, all of this, and what Cesar Hidalgo was talking about. Uh, I think you mentioned in your post about the principal agent problem and the market for lemon kind of thing. There is information asymmetry and misalignment of the incentives.
Yeah, that is also, yeah, like that's also, thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, in that way, the post was powerful. So, yeah, the principal agent problem, and thanks to economist in my network who basically alerted me to that. It's a deep one. Like once you see the problem, right? Basically, it's a entrenched problem in business. Then you ask question like why that problem will not be there at this agile delivery enterprise, and how the agile delivery promise of agile delivery can get compromised because of the principal agent problem. So thanks for mentioning that. And then the other thing is that is related to the market for lemons is basically the same thing, agile coinciding with the cheap money policies since 2000 for 22 years. So in that, if we are very output focused, then the market for good developers slowly goes away. This is because of Gresham's law. So Gresham's law, in most general terms, is basically bad things gradually replaces good things if we do not cherish good things in life. So for example, when I used to roam in India, like Calcutta to Madras to Bangalore, when I was working in Bangalore in 1994, 1996. So this is my journey from Kharagpur. So from Kharagpur, go to Howrah, a local train. Then Howrah, wait for some time. Then take the this Tamil Nadu Express, something like that. Yeah, or Coromandel Express, something like that. That's a overnight journey. It's from Howrah to Chennai. Then take your suitcase, then have a nice shower, this that, while protecting your suitcase and all those things. Then have have a meal in the canteen in the big canteens. They have big halls and all those things, right? So have a meal and then board this train on Chennai at 10 o'clock to arrive at Bangalore at 6:30 or 5:30. So and then do a telegram or write a letter to your home in Kharagpur saying that I have reached safely. Now all those things has all melted away. No telegram, no letter writing. But the thing is that if you do not do that, as a human, you do not develop if you do not write letter to your mother. Now it's just a instant phone call. Phone call has become very cheap and such and such. So we see the effects of in isolation and such, right? So Gresham's law says if we do not cherish as a society good things, right, the bad things will gradually replace good things. Similarly, in cheap money funded agile, if good developers are not cherished, right, so they will be gradually replaced by run-of-the-mill bad developers. So then basically we are arriving at the market of lemons. Basically, the market adverse selection mechanism, right? We talked about good developers. So adverse selection mechanism will completely drive good developer out. So either they have to find really good employment, which is very difficult because they are going by false negative tolerance. Means they can risk rejecting somebody good just because they have this interview process. Then not tolerating a false positive means hiring somebody bad. So because of that, it becomes an intolerable selection process. So these good developers, they have really bad. They don't want to stay in the market because of bad developers. And then if they choose fan, intolerable interview process because they have no tolerance for false positive. They can, as I said,
yes.
As I said, they are willing to take a false negative. Means somebody who was good, like a homebrew developer, the Google's developer, they use homebrew all the time. He went for interview, he was rejected. And then he came back and made a viral post. Your developers use my tool thousands and thousands of developers, they use homebrew, and you reject me because I could not pass through interview. That's exactly classic example of false negative tolerance.
Sounds a
You
lot
can look
like,
it up.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would put this on our edit table. Sounds a lot like when people say, look at the breed of people who are now occupying politics. They're weeding out, crowding out possibility for good people to enter it. So I think it's more like that. Maybe business places are turning political zones in some sense.
Oh, why it would not be? Because politics is very much tied with earning money, and money means power. So if you are starting again, I would not talk about 220 million. That is just too absurd to talk about Sundar Pichai's salary in last
It's an
1 year.
aberration, could be.
Yeah, but even if we start from 1 million, that's a serious chunk of money.
Yeah.
And people turn very political in their desire to earn that in 1 year, not lifetime, 1 year.
One last curiosity before we wrap up today's episode, and then we'll come back next week or the next time to take up something else. The thing is, you mentioned about selection of a model. So two things come when you use the word model. My understanding of the model is it's modeling something it's modeling some bit of reality. But model is not the reality. It's like the map is not the territory kind of thing. So one needs to be aware and cognizant while using the model that it's not the territory. Territory itself might be shifting, and the model needs its own shifting.
Right. Absolutely.
And then I also can tie it back to what you mentioned, that I think on one side you talked about having some strong first principles to work your way. Perhaps or maybe model, you were talking about model as being the concrete theater where you can demonstrate whether it's working, the first principle works or not. I would also invite, if you would want to add a feature in that model, or a North Star for that model, which is it solving for market for lemon or principal agent problem? Is your model constantly addressing or working towards it? You may never solve it, but are you working towards it? Does that sound synchronizing?
Yeah, definitely. Like, if you want to grow a robust business, right, then you definitely would like to go by that principle. But oftentimes I see in business, they are going by other strategies. They have different model. For example, in a cheap money environment, right, the tech giants, they just hoarded people. They were going by the model that hoard these people, give them some fake project, and it has become an open knowledge scandal now. And so that they cannot go to other companies or even competitor startup. So as you see, economic theories, right? They are basically averse with models because how the agents with their money earning motive, how they behave, and that's why economic Nobel Prizes are awarded with insight, people who provide insights, right? So yeah, but that's one model. That's one model of if you want to build from a small business to medium-sized business, and you want to have a robust employee base. Obviously, you would, from an egalitarian point of view, you would like to solve for the principal agent problem. Basically, what we are saying, without jargons, is just you just want to have aligned employees who feel a part of the business, and there are ways to implement that, give them share of the business and all those things, and in many cases that has worked successfully. So, and I think in those cases, the principals, they had a very egalitarian vision. They were very much oriented towards letting go and not becoming very wealthy. So that kind of thing. So I think there is very recent example like North Face founder. I think he built his company in that similar manner. So there are examples of where what you mentioned, where people would like to solve the principal agent problem in a robust way. Yeah. But the big tech is not that. Big tech is not that. Because of the Sukhani's law, because the compensation is so skewed towards the top, starting from 1 million plus. that especially for management, if there is individual contributor earning that, then obviously they are just doing individual contribution. For management compensation going 1 billion plus, they are powerful stakeholders. So their compensation remains hidden, but their agendas, you cannot connect them to compensation. The compensation is hidden. So that's why we do not understand often why they are behaving the way they are behaving.
Right. Soumen, I think we'll call it a wrap for today's conversation. I think it was pretty spontaneous and we covered quite a few ground. But I'm sure as we continue doing these, we might get a little more indexed in my approach. I would get a little more indexed. But thank you for sharing all your insights and stories and your journey in this sense. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thanks for the opportunity too. Your channel is a wonderful channel, so I really appreciate creating content for the channel. Thanks again.